Okay, welcome everyone to the stream. This is gonna be the final stream of this month. There will be definitely other streams coming other months, but it won't be probably every day. So this will be just the final stream of the challenge of September challenge, back to school challenge. This whole series of streams was meant to be for education month, so we have collected a large chunk of information for most of the client-side bugs. Of course, not all of those, because it's a lot of bugs actually. If you want to cover everything, it would take I don't know how much time, but it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, so it was really nice, I gotta say, but to end this series, I guess we still gonna check the CSS injection. I actually prepared a bit just for to check working proof of concept, how you can use vulnerable website. I made a lab for vulnerable website. It is not crazy thing because I had other work to do, but it works. I checked. For the most part, sometimes it's, I don't know, sometimes it's crazy, but for the most cases it will work, and I'm gonna show you. And we also gonna check the second part of the series. Hi, thank you for joining. So another thing about the video, I was actually planning to release the video about blind XSS server setup. So I'm currently working on it. It will firstly be delivered to the patrons today, hopefully. It is 80% finished, so after the stream I will try my best to do all the editing, and maybe the next week will be for non-patrons, for everybody else, basically on YouTube. So yeah, it does take time to actually edit all of those videos. There are so many things to take into consideration. I want for it to be as good as possible, so for the best quality I should work on animations, transitions, different images, add some couple of videos, to have to cut multiple videos, add some thank you page for patrons as well. So a lot of stuff going on when it comes to video editing. And also when I'm filming videos, I have to do some retakes, check the script. I'm not reading the script, but I have some notes what I want to talk about, just to not miss something. Of course there might be some additional things but I might create with other videos, but I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. It's gonna be pretty awesome. I think it's right now I have around 15 minutes or so. So yeah, I guess we will see. Hey, thank you for joining. So without further ado, let's continue to our topic. So we're gonna check the part 2 of CSS injection, but before that, before reading the second part, let me quickly show you the blind XSS exfiltration script, which is actually this is actually available. If we can check, I think I found it on Hacktricks. Blind CSS or something. Yeah, right here they have a link to the gist or something. So how I tried building myself, but I'm not very good programmer to build pretty nice CSS exfiltration script, because you have to create a lot of stuff, automatically build CSS on the server every time and call your own server each character. So I tried checking. I think I found this exploit code here on Gist, which has output log, server.js, it's basically using Node.js, and there is a vulnerable website. But basically it's just not like really nice example because he's just injecting, not like showing how you can inject. So I actually made my own like victim HTML. I just named it test HTML or something. But I actually tried the script. It was not working properly. I'm not sure if you can try yourself if it works for you. I don't know. I'm doing something wrong, might. But on GitHub, I also tried searching like CSS injection exfiltration or something. Let's see. I think CSS exfiltration. So I found one repository which is actually right like this one. I tried using this one. It was also not like working properly, but I modified a couple of things, and right now like I cloned that, and of course I needed to download some like dependencies. Hi Lemon. So I downloaded all the npm dependencies because, as we can see, it uses like Node modules, Node.js, stuff like that. So just to run this, you need to like use Node, and like the main source of code is here on CSS exfiltrator server. So if I quickly show you, there are like, you can even specify the letters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, even symbols, and the host name. So just in case you want to use that like as the valid POC, so you might need to like purchase domain and host it somewhere. So this should be changed, and even the port itself also could be changed. So, but I just left it as default, as just like building my own lab on my own computer. So I haven't actually modified much here. So there are a lot of stuff going on here, but basically it is dynamically building CSS once you call the server. So if I just right now, like this is exploit server, and this should be the victim, not like victim, the vulnerable website. So if I just use like 8080 and I will open Chromium, for example, and have localhost 8080, this will be the website, like this will be the vulnerable website. And I can inject actually the script. So before like injecting, before doing exploitation, let me show you the page source, what attacker would see. So the head tag doesn't include much. This is just a styling, title, and some like meta tags, what doesn't say much. And the main logic is here. This is like the form. There is hidden value, hidden input field, which is basically simulates the CSRF token of the user. Right here is the CSRF token. I used funny name just as a like placeholder for the email, but the fun logic happens here actually. So what it does right here, it will add the event listener on this form. So once I submit the form, the following function will be called. So prevent default, this is like prevents default actions, doesn't mean too much probably. This value will save the input, email input from like email right here, what's like the value from here, and then that value will be stored into the output of like output inner HTML right here. So it's basically the CSS reflection. So if I like show you the vulnerable part, like h1 test h1, you can do HTML injection. Just to show you what it works, let's change to the lower. As you can see, the HTML injection is happening here. But imagine if it's like the JavaScript won't work. Like if I do alert, right now it works actually on this lab. It should work, but it's not right now working. I might want to use an error like this. Let's see. I think, yeah, it works. As you can see, the XSS also works, but imagine the scenario when like the most of the payloads like this are sanitized. There is a web application firewall in place where actually it blocks most of the requests. Like it only will allow you to use like some tags like h1, paragraph, maybe bold, maybe italic, and the famous style tag. So using the style tag, if you have the like the server, the malicious server which is running this code right here, like all that repository, what you can do, you can actually exfiltrate. Oh Jesus, I accidentally closed everything. You can actually use this payload to actually execute the data exfiltration using CSS injection. Let's see it in action. So right here it says exfiltrating. If I inspect everything and check the network tag, as you can see, it's sending a lot of requests to the external server and like try to fetch some CSS, like using import. And right here the magic actually happens. I have turned off the debugging mode because it will show you a lot of things, but right now let's wait for everything to finish. But it's basically what it's doing, it's gathering all the data from the form. So if I like, for example, view the page source, what it will try to do is gather everything what is here, including the SSRF token. So yeah, as you can see, it's like changed the view of the page. It's actually gathered a lot of stuff. And imagine if this is stored somewhere, and you can actually have the listener, you can actually have the attacker server, and once the victim goes to the page where you injected CSS with import, it will do like this, and it will actually send all of those things to the attacker. So if I, for example, go to the page right here, as you can see right here, it's sometimes it doesn't work as intended. Like I'm not sure why it's not working, because as you can see, for the first time I do not see the my token value right here. As you can see, if you probably want to check, this should be the value, but it doesn't work every time. So what I have to do, I have to reload the page, maybe clear the cache, I don't know, maybe the cache is doing some weird tricks. And let me open this and try again, because sometimes I have to retry 3 or like, I don't know, 2 times, and sometimes it will I don't know, doesn't collect everything. But this is the good start. As you can see, like my token is a hidden input field, but it still was like able to gather that from the user. So it's still loading. It, as you can see, it's sending a bunch of requests at a time. I think what's need to be edited on this particular script is the like delay between the request, because it like delay between each of that request is 1 or 2 milliseconds, which could, I don't know, do something wrong with logic. And as you can see right here, right now, it actually captured the CSRF token. Let's see on the server side. Yeah, as you can see, the input value of CSRF token was actually captured in this case, and the email as well. So yeah, it works, but It needs some improvement. So what I suggest, if you want to try it yourself, feel free to check that repository right here of the hack vector blind CSS exfiltration. So you can try using this and could try it yourself. And there is even test page already prepared. He's just using the style and he's like trying to leak the token. So this script is not perfect, but it's really a good start if you're looking for those type of vulnerabilities. So that was just a little bit of practical part, like how I played a little bit with this, but you can try yourself for sure. And now let's get back to the series of Beyond XSS, because we have part 2 to finish for sure. But I actually shown right here was just some things of part 2, because if I will just using the knowledge from part 1, that won't be enough to like create this type of POC. So let's begin. In previous post, we learned about the basic principles of CSS data theft and demonstrated it using HackMD as practical example. Successfully stealing the CSRF token. In this post, we will delve into the details of CSS injection and address following questions. Since HackMD can load new styles without refreshing the page, how we can steal characters beyond the first one on other websites? If we can steal only one character at a time, how would it take a long time? Is this feasible practice? It is possible to steal things other than attributes, for example, the text content of the page or even JavaScript code. What are defense mechanisms against this attack technique? Alright, let me quickly check the chat. So we can include style tag if CSP directive style SRC not in place. About style SRC, I think yeah, this could be the way of protection from the defensive side. So if they don't allow to include some kind of style to the page, so yeah, this could be a layer of defense, but that is usually rare the case. Usually the CSP rules to the stylings are very loose per se, if there are any, because not many people know about CSS injection. So right, all right. In the previous part, we mentioned that the data we want to steal may change upon refreshing. Example, CSRF token. So we need to load new styles without refreshing the page. The reason why we were able to do this in the previous post is that HackMD itself is a service that boosts real-time updates. But what about regular web pages? So I already shown the example, but alright, how we can dynamically load new styles without using JavaScript? Regarding this issue, Peppa Villa provided the answer in this presentation. I highly recommend checking that out if you are really interested in CSS injection. So he's shown like using import. As you can see, as you probably seen already in my payload, I also used the import. The CSS, you can use import to import external styles, similar to JavaScript's import. You can utilize this feature to create loop for importing styles as shown in the code snippet below, like right here. Then the server responds with the following style. So the server itself will try to generate the payload on himself to like try different characters. So in this case, it's like trying different numbers. Here is a key. Although we import 8 at once, the server will hang for next 7 requests and not provide the response. Only the first URL, my server payload len1, will return a response, which contains previously mentioned data theft payload, like this one we like seen before. When the browser receives the response, it will load the CSS snippet above. After loading, the elements that meet the conditions will send requests to the backend. Let's assume the first character is D. Then at this point the server responds with the content of my server payload len2, and it will dynamically change like all of this CSS data inside it. This process continues, repeating these steps, allowing to send all characters to the server. It relies on the fact import with load already downloaded resources first and then wait for ones that haven't downloaded yet. The one important thing to note here is that you notice we load styles from the domain myserver.com, while the background image domain is bmyserver.com right here. But you can use the same server as well. This is because browsers usually have limitations on number of requests that can simultaneously load from the single domain. Yeah, maybe using domains that could solve some issue. That's why I had some like false positives, I think, just because of that. There could be some browser limitations for sure. So, all right. So if you use myserver.com, you will find that requests in the background images won't go through as they blocked by CSS imports. Therefore, it is necessary to set up two domains to avoid this situation. Okay. Apart from that, the above method doesn't work in Firefox. That's why, like in my POC, I shown the Chrome browser. Even if the response for first request arrives, Firefox won't immediately update the style. It waits for all requests to complete before updating. So this behavior of Firefox actually prevents me like to include the full POC. For solution, you can refer this article by Michael Benkovsky. Again, this guy. Does the name sound familiar? Yeah. Data like CSS data exfiltration in Firefox via a single injection point. Yeah, okay. Remove the first import step and wrap each character's import in additional styles like this. This approach works fine in Chrome as well, so by adopting it you can import both browsers simultaneously. Alright, so if you can do this, you can try it on Firefox as well. In summary, by using at import CSS feature, we can achieve loading new styles dynamically without reloading the page, and thereby steal each character one by one. Alright, so there's like inbuilt CSS functionality that we can abuse. Okay, stealing one character at a time, too slow. If we want to execute this type of attack in the real world, we might need to improve efficiency. Taking HackMD as an example, the sysref token consists of 36 characters, so we would need to send 36 requests, which is quite a lot. In fact, we can steal 2 characters at a time because, as mentioned in the previous section, besides the prefix selector, there is also a suffix selector. So we can do it like this. So he's using this, and at the same time is also using this. Alright, so he's using 2 things at a time, so it will drastically reduce the amount of requests to be sent. In addition to stealing the prefix, we can also steal the suffix, effectively doubling the efficiency. It is important to note that the CSS for prefix and suffix uses different properties. One is using background and another using border background. This is because we use the same property. The content will be overwritten by others, resulting in only one request being sent. If there are not many possible characters in the content, for example 16 characters, we can directly steal 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes at a time. The total number of CSS rules would be 16 by 16 times 2, so that many, which would be still within the acceptable range, and we will further accelerate process by 2 times. But this is only when you know the vulnerable page contents. Like if you know that, and you know that, for example, CSRF token is really big, so you can like even speed up everything. But I don't know, like if this has some advantage, you'll see. In addition to these methods, we can also improve on the server side. For example, using HTTP2 or even HTTP3 could potentially speed up loading requests to improve efficiency. Yeah, like HTTP3 is really quick, but I don't see much of adoption these days still. Stealing other things. Alright, besides stealing properties, is there a way to steal other things? For example, other text on the page or even the code inside scripts. Nice. Based on the principles discussed in the previous section, it is not possible. The ability to steal properties is due to attribute selector, which allow us to select specific elements. However, in CSS, there is no selector that can select the content itself. Okay. Therefore, we need deeper understanding of CSS and the styles on the web page to accomplish the seemingly impossible task. So nothing is impossible in this case. Unicode range. In CSS, there is property called Unicode range that allow us to load different fonts for different characters. Here is an example taken from MDN. Okay, style, me and you, us. Alright, Unicode for this is this right here maybe. So only the character "and" will be displayed in the different font, while the rest will be use the same font. Front-end developers may have used this technique before, for example to display English and Chinese using different fonts. This technique can also be used to steal the text on a page like this. Alright, so just using source for the font right here. If you check the network tab, you will see a total of 4 requests being sent. All of those are failed. By using this technique, we can determine that there are 4 characters on the page, 13AC. However, this technique has its limitations. We do not know the order of the characters. We do not know if there is any duplicate characters. Oh, okay. But thinking about how to steal characters from the perspective of loading fonts has provided many people with a new way of thinking and has led to the development of various other methods. Font height difference plus first line plus scroll bar. Okay, this technique aims to solve the problem encountered in the previous technique, not knowing the order of the characters. It combines many details and involves multiple steps, so please listen carefully. Alright, firstly, we can actually leak characters using built-in fonts without loading external fonts. How we can do this? We need to find 2 sets of inbuilt fonts with different heights. For example, there is font called Famous Common Sense that has greater height than another font called Courier New. Alright, this is extremely deep shit. This is really deep. Alright, so you can abuse the fonts, it seems. For example, let's assume the default font height is 30 pixels and Comic Sans is 45 pixels. Now, if we set the height of the text container to 40 pixels to load the font like this, height, we can see the difference on the screen. It is clear that the character A has a greater height than other characters. Alright, here. According to our CSS settings, if the content height exceeds to the container height, a scroll bar will appear. Although it might be not visible on the screenshot above, the ABC below has a scroll bar. Where it is? While the DBC above does not. Okay, furthermore, we can set the external background for the scroll bar to blue. Alright, so if we can set the background, we can call the URL of our like attacker server. So right here, for example. This means if the scroll bar appears, our server will receive a request, aka the data exfiltration could happen of like the contents inside the page. If the scroll bar does not appear, no request will be received. Furthermore, when I apply FA font to the div, if the character A appears on the screen, the scroll bar will appear and the server will receive a request. If the character A does not appear on the screen, nothing will happen. Therefore, if we repeatedly load different fonts, the server can know what characters are displayed on the screen, which is similar what we achieved using Unicode range. So how do we solve order problem? We can first reduce the width and of the div, only display one character, so other characters will be placed on the second line. Then we can use first line selector to adjust the style specifically for the first line like this. Alright. Cool. Alright. On the screen, only character C will be visible. This is because we set the font size of all characters to 0 using the font size 0 pixels, and then adjust the font size of the first line to 30 pixels using the first line. In other words, only characters in the first line can be seen. Now with width of div only 20 pixels, so only first character will appear. So basically what this logic will do, it will like lets you see the order of the characters by just increasing the size of the first character and decreasing other characters what comes like after to the 0 pixels, basically not showing them, if I understood correctly. Next, we can use the trick what we learned to load different fonts. Then I load the font FA. Since the character A doesn't appear on the screen, there will be no change. But when I load the font FC, since the character C appears on the screen, it will be displayed using Comic Sans font, which will increase height and cause scroll bar to appear. We can then use it to send requests like this. Leak. Okay. Letter spacing. Okay. So how we can keep using new font families? We can achieve it using CSS animation. You can continuously load different font families to specify different leak variables using a CSS animation. This is crazy, like that's in CSS right now you can even use variables like in almost in programming languages. This is crazy. Once we know the first character, we can increase the width of the div, for example, to 40 pixels, so you can accommodate 2 characters. Therefore, the first line will be the first 2 characters. Then we can load different font families in the same way to leak the second character. The detailed process as follows. Alright, this is like really long process, but let's see. Assume that the characters on the screen are ACB, like this could be like different order. Adjust the width to the 20 pixels and only the first character A will appear in the first line. Load the font FA so the A will be displayed in the larger font size, causing scroll bar to appear. Load the scroll bar in the background and send request to the server. So you will see the backend server will see the first character. Then load the font FB, like the second part. Since the B does not appear on the screen, nothing will change. Other font will be loaded. C won't appear on the screen, nothing will change. Adjust the width to the 40 pixels and the first line display 2 characters AC. So we'll check other characters, load the font, like the first font again, so the A will be displayed with a larger size, causing scroll bar to appear. At this point the background has already loaded and no new request will be sent. And the other font, the scroll bar will appear because this is the order B. In the background nothing will happen with the C again, and then the font will also change and the three characters ACB appear on the first line. Load the font again as in step 7. Okay, blah 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 blah. Alright. From above process we can see the server will receive 3 requests in the order of ACB, which represents the order of the characters on the screen. So we can solve the order problem here. Changing the width on the font family continuously by achieved using CSS animation. This is complex but brilliant way of not invented by me but by those two guys. If you want to see original demo you can visit the webpage. And I think my POC shown before was not actually using this, but rather I was using stealing all characters, like just using import statements. But this is like other technique what could be done as well, but it looks like extremely difficult for me. Like unless some people will develop some kind of server where you can dynamically do all of this, all of these steps mentioned right here using a backend server, well, that in that case it could be pretty interesting. But apart from that, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. This looks extremely complicated. Ultimate move, ligature plus scroll bar. To cut to the chase, the move can solve all the problems mentioned above and achieve goal of knowing the order of characters and knowing the duplicate characters, allowing us to steal the complete text. Before understanding how to do it, we need to know the term called ligature. In some fonts, certain combinations of characters are rendered as connected shapes. Alright, for example, AE, this is like connected shapes as the shown in the image below. Okay, so like special fonts might have this. So how does this help us? We can create unique font ourselves where we need to set AB as a ligature and then render it as an extremely wide element. And when we set up width of the certain div to be fixed the value and combine it with the scroll bar trick we mentioned earlier. If AB appears, we will become very wide, causing the scroll bar to appear. We can load the request to tell the server. If it doesn't appear, the scroll bar will not appear and nothing will happen. Woo, this looks really complicated. The process is as follows. Assuming there are the characters of ACC on the screen. The load font with ligature. This, nothing happens. Successfully renders our site, scroll bar appears, load server images. Server knows that AC is on the screen, then it will try with other characters. Like again, nothing happens, and this will happen. Server knows that ACC is on the screen. Alright, so this is even smarter technique, I think. By combining ligatures with the scroll bar, we can slowly leak all of the characters on the screen, even the JavaScript code. Ooh. Alright. Did you know that the contents of the script can be displayed on the screen? So with display block, by adding this CSS, the contents of the script can be displayed on the screen, so we can also use the same technique to steal the contents of the script. Nice. In practice, you can use SVG with other tools quickly to generate fonts on the server. If you want to see the details of related code, you can refer to Michael Bankovsky's article, Stealing the Data in the Grid Style, How to Use CSS to Attack a Web Application. Come on, this guy is seriously, like, he's doing some crazy research on the front end. Seriously, damn, this is next level stuff. And other, like, the same Japanese guy we've seen before has also created Safari version of demo. Since Safari supports SVG fonts, there is no need to generate fonts from the server. So there is another article. Well, feel free to read that if you want, if it's really interesting topic to you. This is really interesting research, I gotta say. Like how you can abuse the fonts. It's so nerdy to go deep into this, but it's interesting as well. Here I will simply create a simplified demo to demonstrate that this is possible. Okay, so he just demonstrates the scripts with some like different scripts with different secrets stored in the variables. And right here, this is like the CSS injection. So font family is called hack, and it just uses, this is like, I don't know, not functions but like statements in some cases when it like background will turn different color. And then I added 2 sections of JavaScript code in the script, the contents of var secret abc123 and var secret 2 cba321. When using CSS, I load prepared font. Whenever there is ligature with an A, it becomes oversized. Next, the scroll bar appears. I set the background to blue for better visibility. The final result as follows. Okay, like this. So instead of, like, this is only showing the example how you can see it on your own browser, but imagine you can also like use URL right here to call it like attacker server. Above, because the content var secret abc123 matches ligature A, the scroll bar appears. Below there is no A, the scroll bar does not appear. The places with A are missing characters which should be related to not defining other glyphs, but it does not affect the result. By changing the background of the scroll bar to URL, we can know the leaked result from the server. Yeah, exactly, as I said, like right here you can add URL. If you want to see the actual demo and the server-side implementation, you can refer to articles mentioned above. Alright, those two. So the defense measures. So finally, let's talk about defenses. The simplest and the most straightforward way to simply disable the use of the styles tags. Yeah, which will basically eliminate the problem of CSS injection. Unless there are vulnerabilities in the implementation. If you really want to allow styles, you can also use CSP to block loading of certain resources. Yeah, as I said, like you can use CSP. For example, font source does not need to be fully open, and style source can also be set to allow the list to block the import syntax. Furthermore, you can also consider that would happen if things are on the page were taken away. For example, if the CSRF token is taken, the worst case scenario is CSRF. At this time, you can implement more protection to block CSRF. Even if the attacker obtains CSRF token, we cannot perform CSRF. For example, by checking the origin header. Alright, let's finish this article with conclusion, and I will also add my own conclusion, because this type of attack, CSRF, like not CSRF, CSS injection is also like pretty interesting one, and I will want to like see when you want to use it. Okay, the CSS is truly vast and profound. I really admire how these predecessors can play with CSS in so many ways to develop many eye-opening attack techniques. When I was researching, I could understand using attribute selectors to leak information, and I could also understand using Unicode range. However, it took me quite some time to understand what was going on with one used text height and CSS animation to change. And although the concept of ligatures are easy to understand, I still encountered many problems when implementing it. Yeah, definitely. Like me myself, I actually skimmed through all of these techniques in the article, but just in case if I want to like fully understand, I might need to reread this article again, and maybe even checking those two articles mentioned here, because I treat this as like just a starting point, and like true security research should be read right here as well, and then I might like know myself what I need to do. But in order to like fully understand everything, you also need to experiment yourself, like as a good security researcher yourself. And in that case, if you encounter something on the wild, let's say, if you for example see that you can inject HTML, some parts of some HTML tags, so you might have some options from that. If you like, you have to also check if you can inject the style tags, then you might aim for CSS injection. And CSS injection, you can detect if there is some CSRF token, for example, and if you can steal that token. And if you can steal that, you can chain the CSS injection with CSRF, and both of those bugs together might result for some more interesting stuff compared to like just regular, I know, CSS injection or HTML injection, which is basically normally for the most part is informational or maximum low bounty severity bug. But if you chain multiple bugs, if you like instead of regular HTML injection you upgrade to CSS injection and then chain it with like other bugs, you can achieve way higher severity. Alright, these two articles mainly introduce the CSS injection attack technique, so there is not much actual code. These attack techniques are all referenced from the articles of predecessors, and I will list them below. So those right here. If you are interested, you can read the original articles, which will provide more detailed explanation. So yeah, I highly recommend, if you are interested in this, you can try to read it. But what I would do personally, if I am hunting on like high tier target, like STR target, by STR I mean the program which actually pays for criticals, like 5-digit bounties, I might want to spend more extra time checking CSS injections. If it's like program which awards $250 for mediums like we seen on the previous stream, I won't bother. Like I would rather spend my time elsewhere. I don't know, like I know if it's really worth my time. But if you, for instance, can get medium which actually pays a couple of thousands, well, definitely I will take a look, reading some security research, try to reproduce the payload myself and try to see what could be done. So yeah, apart from that, I don't know, I won't bother probably. Okay, so my microphone is alright, I guess. Okay, is it better right now? Whoa, I guess I accidentally my microphone, I accidentally switched the sound level, so sorry for that. I haven't actually noticed. That's kind of crazy. All right, hopefully I will see after the stream if everything went fine, but geez, every time I do something weird. All right, so we can also we have some time, we can also check the last part of chapter 3. Can you attack with just a HTML? Yeah. Yeah, I get that, because there is some things that I can like, I could just scroll a little bit of microphone and it will like, the sound level will change. So I think I accidentally did something. All right, can you attack with just HTML? Let's see if, yeah, it looks like pretty straightforward. Oh, James Kettle. I like really the research of James Kettle. We could truly try reading those. Let's see what we can do with just HTML. So imagine the cases that even the style tags are, even those are hidden. Is still we can do something? Let's see. Maybe, I think to my surprise, maybe the max severity is medium, but still worth trying, even with HTML injections. Alright, whatever it is using HTML to affect the JavaScript through DOM clobbering or attacking through prototype pollution, the goal is to disrupt existing JavaScript code to achieve an attack. Even with CSS injection, you can still need ability to add styles to carry out the attack, so it's not applicable in every situation. What if you only have HTML and no JavaScript or CSS to work with? Can you still launch the attack? The answer is yes. However, it is important to note that when we talk about attacks, it doesn't necessarily mean XSS. For example, CSS injection to steal data is also considered an attack, as well as making phishing attempts easier. There are many types of vulnerabilities, and they are usually evaluated based on severity and impact. Naturally, attacks using only HTML may have lower severity, which is normal. Nevertheless, it's still interesting, isn't it? Some seemingly significant vulnerabilities can become powerful when combined. Therefore, even if impact is not high, still worth paying attention to. Finally, some of the attack techniques mentioned in the article have already patched and only exist in older browsers in the history. I will specifically mention such a case. Come on. Is it really worth it to read this article then, if it's not applicable? Maybe only if you're if you want to do security research. In that case, probably yes. Okay, let's see. Reverse tab nabbing. Well, as the triager, like I worked as a triager, and when I seen the reverse tab nabbing reports, usually we just close those as informational ones. I don't know, maybe some programs do accept that for sure, like it depends on the program, but I don't know. Redirecting with meta tags, attacks using iframes, attacks carried out through forms, dangling markup injections. I don't know. Alright, never mind, just continue, just go with the flow. So what is the problem with the code snippet? I guess right here, target blank. Isn't it just a hyperlink? What could be a problem? Although there is currently no issue with the code, there is small problem until around 2021. When you click on the link, go to my blog, it opens new window. On my blog page, the original page can be accessed using window.opener. Although the data could not be read due to different origins, it is still possible to redirect the original page using window.opener.location, http example.com. What impact does this have? Let's consider practical example. Suppose you're browsing Facebook and you came across the link with an article of one of my posts. After reading the article and switching back to the Facebook tab, you see the message saying you have been logged out and you need to log in again. What will you do? I believe some people would log in again because it appears to be normal. Well, right, these days you will in some really rare cases you will see being logged out on the Facebook, but alright. However, in reality, the login page is a phishing page. So, but I don't know, most of the impact all the time about HTML injections are the phishing. I don't know, this is the max thing what you can do. The article page used in the window.opener.location to redirect not the original Facebook page, although the users can clearly see from the address bar it is not Facebook. At the point for these users would not expect the original page to be redirected clicking on the article. So basically, instead of regular Facebook login page, you can redirect user to your own page and then collect data. Solving parse figure lab, newly joined. No, I'm just actually reading article series beyond XSS. So I'm just checking how you can use just HTML injection to achieve some impact. Usually the HTML injection is just a result of maximum medium severity bugs, but for the most cases it's considered informational, but this is just the article how you can achieve a little bit higher impact. I recommend doing this only if you are hunting on some higher tier programs which pay more. Okay, the type of attack is called reverse tab namming, where the URL of the original tab is changed through the newly opened page. Okay, so back then that was the fix, and it was fixed. And it was fixed for other browsers. Therefore, as of 2023, if you are using latest browser, it won't be a problem. All right. So that was the problem a while ago. Let's see. Another thing what you can do using HTML injection, redirecting with meta tags. One of the meanings of word meta is self. For the example, the data is information and the metadata is data what describes data. All right, I haven't known that meta actually means self. So the company Meta is actually means self, really? In the context of web pages, the meta tag serves the same purpose, which is describe the web page. The most common meta tags are, I think this is UTF, viewport, description, type, title, locale. Yeah, I've seen this quite often actually. These tags can be used to specify pages encoding, the viewport properties, description, open graph, and more. This is what the meta tags are used for. In addition to this, there is one attribute that attackers particularly interested in, HTTP equiv. In fact, I used this attribute when demonstrating the CSP earlier. Okay, this one. The above HTML will redirect to the page example.com. So this is the result of open redirect after 3 seconds. Therefore, this tag is often used for pure HTML auto refresh as long as the redirected page is self-referencing. Since redirection is possible, an attacker can use those tags to redirect users to their own page. Again, phishing. The scenario is similar to reverse tab nabbing, but the difference that the user doesn't need to click anything. For example, suppose there is an e-commerce website where the product page that allows HTML comments. I can leave the comment with the content being a fermented meta tag. Then, but also those are usually filtered out by the most of libraries or web application firewalls. But just in case if this are allowed, Yeah, probably. All right. When someone clicks on this product, they will be redirected to my carefully crafted phishing page, and there is high chance that they might mistake for a legitimate page to enter their credit card information. A defense against this type of attack is to filter out meta tags in user input, which can prevent such of attacks. But one thing what I'm missing here is actually, is this still possible to do it nowadays? I wonder. Alright. I might try it after the stream myself. Okay, attacks using iframes. The iframe tags allows embedding another website within one's own website. The most common example is the blog comment system or embedding YouTube videos. When sharing YouTube video, you can directly copy the HTML containing the iframe. Like this, embedding YouTube video. The website allows users to insert iframes themselves, then leads to some problems. Well, but also those are usually not allowed for the most part. If they are already filtering out the style tags, the script tags, I know image, a lot of like different tags known for XSS and like CSS injection, the iframes will be definitely not allowed. But still, let's continue reading. When a website allows users to insert iframes themselves, it could lead to some problems. For example, it allows inserting the phishing page. Yeah, again, the impact is phishing. It is just simple example. With some effort, the CSS can be adjusted to match the style of entire page, making it even more credible. And again, like even though you can inject this, even though if you can inject this, it doesn't mean that the program will pay you, because for some programs, if they see word phishing as the impact, they will say it's informational. Especially, it's like I seen some examples with Google, like the recent one on the Gmail, where you can actually inject in the email contents the forms, and when user fill up that form, it could be used as the phishing. And the Google app unfortunately doesn't see that as an issue, so I don't know. Gonna spray meta tag for open the directed while the e-commerce tigers review section. Not only e-commerce, I think you can try on the blogs, like different blogs, support portals, where, for example, if there is a e-commerce store and they have some like different domain where is meant for support, or there is like a forum of certain things, on the forums usually you can inject a lot of like HTML stuff. Just consider the areas where like rich text area could be used. Just try those areas. Not only, don't limit yourself, what I was trying to say. Do you know about homoglyphs? No idea, man, no idea. Yeah, so like a lot of stuff about frontend is relatively new to me. I know about some of those vulnerability types mentioned in this series, but some of those actually contain some information which is also new to me, and it was quite a journey this month for me as well. All right, this is just a simple example, but with more effort the CSS can be adjusted to match the style of entire website. In addition to iframes, can particularly manipulate outer website, similar to reverse tab nabbing. When the website can access the window of the other pages, it can be basically use window.location to navigate the window to another page. For iframes, it could be done like this: top location and this one. However, this behavior will be blocked by the browser by following error message appear. As the error message suggests, because these two windows are not same origin, the navigation will be blocked. However, there are ways to bypass this. Simply modify iframe like this. Sandbox. Okay. Cool. Allow top navigation. When the iframe has sandbox attribute, it enters sandbox mode. There many features will automatically be disabled to need to be explicitly enabled. The following features will be enabled. Allow, wow, oh, okay. You can use homoglyphs to bypass XSS filtration. All right, homoglyphs. Let's see. What is homoglyphs? XSS. December 21 XSS challenge on integrity. Well, integrity, they have a lot of interesting videos. Like seriously, those CTFs and like the people sharing some write-ups to those CTFs, those are really interesting ones. All right. I don't know. This is also the new area to me. Come on, those those commercials. I might try to read and see some videos. This is also looks like interesting stuff for sure. But let's try to finish. Yeah, I think the Twitch chat does have some like strict rules if it's automated, you know. All right. In our case, enabling allow scripts means that the pages within same iframe can execute JavaScript. Allow top navigation means, so I don't know, this is just an XSS, not actually HTML. This vulnerability be found in GitLab, offered 1K bounty. From the GitLab, 1K is not like a really big bounty. I think it's low or something. Let's see. CV. Let's see the severity if we can. Do they have severity? Ah, never mind. Never mind. Alright. Attacks carried out through forms. Yeah, phishing attacks. What if website allows users to insert form-related elements, such as form? In fact, it is similar to iframe example mentioned above, when you can create fake form accompanying the text telling user that they have logged out and need to log in. Basically phishing again. If user fills their username and password and clicks OK, the account information will be sent to attacker. But you have to understand, like doing things like this in your POC could be easily interpreted as social engineering or phishing, and most likely you won't get awarded. Just saying. But the power of the forms are not limited to that. Let's take a real look at a real example. In 2002, security researcher discovered an infosec vulnerability in infosec Mastodon, where HTML could be inserted in the tweets. However, due to strict CSP, the styles could not be inserted and JavaScript cannot be executed. So the CSP prevented most of the attacks. I just install unblock origin for adblock. Okay. Okay. In such a challenging environment, he just used form in conjunction with Chrome's autofill mechanism to carry out the attack. Many browsers will still have the feature, so automatically remembering passwords and filling them out automatically. Yeah, actually the same stuff happened in the Gmail on the write-up on like the I mentioned a couple of times. Your fake form is no exception, will be filled with automatically remembered username and password. Browsers are also smart. If the input fields for username and password is intentionally hidden, they will not automatically filled in. However, it seems that they will not smart enough, because simply setting opacity to 0, you can bypass this restriction. Alright, that's kind of interesting. But how do we make the user to click on the button to submit the form? Although the styles cannot be used, classes can be used. You can decorate the fake form with existing classes on the page to make it look similar to the original interface. This way it appears more harmless and it can attract users' attention and clicks. The same principle applies to the opacity. Existing classes could be utilized. Yeah, alright, this will look... I see James Kettle here. This look pretty similar. By clicking the button in the box, the form containing the username and password will be automatically submitted. In the other words, if user clicks on seemingly normal icon, their account will be stolen. Stealing password key. You can read this article just to see how to do this. Dangling markup injection. In the addition to the mentioned attacks, there is another attack method called dangling markup. It is easier to understand with an example. Account balances like this, and there is like really strict CSP. Alright, in this example we can inject HTML into the page through the query string, like this one. However, the problem is in that CSP very strict and does not allow JavaScript, CSS, or even iframes. In this case, how can we steal the data from the page? We can pass in image source this. Yeah, sometimes there could be even cases that like event handlers are not allowed on the page, but image tags are actually allowed. So yeah, this could be used probably. The key point is that this image tag is not closed. Oh, okay, and the attribute is not enclosed in double quotes. After combining with the original HTML, it becomes like this. Oh, it just leaks the contents of the page. All right, this is pretty interesting. The original text on the page, your account balance, becomes part of SRC, and it will encounter another this, which closes the attribute. So yeah, so it will basically, everything right here will be leaked to the attacker website. This type of attack is called dangling markup injection. Alright, this does have more impact than just, you know, typical phishing attacks. So I guess this one is kind of interesting one, interesting use case. This attack is useful when the content security policy is strict and we want to steal data from the page. You can still try this attack technique. However, it is important to note that Chrome built-in defense mechanism does not allow URLs if line breaks in the present. Alright, there is some protection on the Chrome. Therefore, if you run above HTML in Chrome, you will see the request is blocked. However, Firefox, hello Firefox, does not currently have the similar mechanism, and it will happily send the request for you. And you can actually check very interesting write-up about like how various techniques, even like the techniques that he haven't actually discovered, but I think he used dangling markup injection technique to chain like some multiple other bugs in the Zoom program by one person. Like you can check that write-up. So like HTML dangling markup injection Zoom, I think like this. Or maybe not, but I think he used Log. No. Let's see, zoom bug bounty. Write up. I think this one. A lot of different bugs chained. Cookie tossing. Browser permissions. Dangling. Okay, maybe that was a different type of attack. Maybe not this one. But alright. So basically you can leak the account balance. It will also only be applicable on Firefox because it doesn't have much of protection, and will happily send the request for attacker. So Firefox users still. But if your injection point happens inside the head, you can bypass your Chrome restrictions using link. Alright, so it still could be possible, but there is certain preconditions for that. So you will receive request right here. After URL encoding, you will see the original HTML successfully stealing the data. Yeah. The compared to attack techniques mentioned earlier, using the HTML alone to attack has a higher threshold. Users may need to click on links or buttons and may need to be combined carefully crafted phishing websites to achieve the goal of stealing valuable data. However, despite this, we must admit that these payloads still have an impact. Well, we can admit, but treasures might not of certain programs. We should not underestimate attacks that target user habits. For example, in the world of cryptocurrency, we can transfer 0 units of currency from someone else's account to another person. For example, if Alice can transfer 0 units to Bob, Peter can transfer 0 units to Alice. As long as the amount of 0 units, you can transfer it however you want, and the transaction fee is paid by the person initiating the operation. According to the common sense, although it is strange to help others transfer money, who can do such a thing? Bob and Alice balance would not change, and Alice will lose 100 units of transaction fees. Why would he do this? Just to annoy person, I guess. But once combined with the user's usual transfer habits, it becomes interesting attack techniques. So account addresses, the blockchain, long strings like this, so when displayed. Alright, it's so long conclusion. I'm actually tired reading today, but yeah, as I wanted to say, this was really interesting journey. A lot of things what we have covered. Some of the streams were maybe more beginner friendly, but as you can see, this have become pretty complex. I guess for the next streams I will do less complex stuff, because I could easily attract more people to watch the stream. So we'll see, like we will see. So yeah, it was quite a journey, and for the next month it will be maybe less condensed type of streams, but I will try my limits. I don't know, I will see, like, if I can stream for 4 hours straight. Not sure, because I don't know, I have some kind of ADHD sometimes. It's kind of hard for me to focus on higher, like, longer streams. But I don't know, I like challenges. If I start challenge, there is no way turning back for me, unless I know, like, something bad happens. So yeah, let's keep other month more geared towards the content, but I don't want to forget doing the streams, because this was also really interesting for me. I do like streaming, but I also want to keep some of my people who are interested in my content as well. So more of video content are coming, maybe some blogs as well. And what I want to say, I wish everyone have a nice remaining week, remaining days of this month. Hopefully I like, at least for some of you, I like transfer some spirit for the learning for this month. So